So hello and welcome back to the show that puts another angle on the hottest topics getting the city talking this week. Each week I'm joined by guests from all corners of Leeds, including business leaders, community representatives, journalists, people from the art scene and more, to have a look at what's been happening in the news and social media. Tonight my guests are the former Leeds West MP John Battle. Now on this show we've never had a serving politician, so John just sneaks in. I say sneaks in, but he left office in 2010, in fact, when Rachel Reeves took over the seat. But he remains active in politics. In fact, his Twitter profile calls him a born political activist. Oh. And he's also received an award from the last Pope for services to the Catholic Church. And Minoti Parikh is a TV presenter, MC, speaker and entrepreneur. She arrived in Leeds just over 3 years ago, relocating here from Mumbai to marry the man of her dreams. And since then, as well as hosting events, she set up her company, This Pampered Life, which organises bespoke days out for people in Yorkshire. So Minoti, we were chatting first about the fact that you're kind of relatively recent to Leeds, and that's great actually, because you know give us a new take on it. So coming here, you've had to sort of recreate yourself, really, haven't you? Again,
absolutely.
Because you were a really successful TV presenter. Before we came in here, I asked you not to comment on how small our studio is, because I know back in India, you were a successful TV presenter.
Yes, I was presenting a TV show which was the national sports show. It was the car rally and the motorbiking championship that I did for 7 seasons, for 7 years, and I've done lots of other presenting work alongside the Prime Minister of India, the President of India, Sachin Tendulkar, Amitabh Bachchan, Ratan Tata, so some very massive
very
names.
Famous people.
No excuse for me to actually stop all that and relocate to a new country, but I did. I think at that point I thought I'm going to be really brave and ambitious and all of that. Obviously, when I moved here, I think for the first 6 months I was like, what did I do?
Yeah.
Why did I do this? From leading a very, very busy, glamorous life and a very high-profile life, you're always not just the celebrities, but even when it comes to the corporates as well. Yeah. I was always dealing with the senior leadership.
You put me to shame because I moved to Bradford for love, right? And so there, when I felt like at times that was quite a long way. Where you moved halfway across the world for love. We're so glad that we've got you here, and you've obviously set up your new business, and that's all going brilliant. So welcome. Yes. Thank you for being here. And John, former Leeds West MP, former government minister. Mm-hmm. Now, you were saying you're very involved in the Leeds Debt Forum, and we might come on to talk about universal credit in the next part, because there's been some stories about that this week. But you're saying Bramley Baths is your big thing at the moment.
Well, when I handed over, I don't believe people should do jobs such as being in MPs and Prime Ministers for more than a certain amount of time, because you burn out. Yeah. So you should move out, not hold on forever. So I never expected to. I won a seat. I didn't inherit a Labour seat. I had to win a seat. So
you took it because the Liberals held Leeds West for many years.
They did for some years,
didn't they?
And so I was shocked. It was a shock to get there, and I was amazed to hang on so long. So I left after 23 years to pass the torch on to Rachel Reeves, and my daughter wonderfully married an Italian and emigrated to Italy. So once that
great, free holidays.
Exactly. I set off. I hadn't been before. I set off the day after the election. I get to my daughters, and I've got a glass of wine and a book in my hand in the sunshine, and this damn thing goes off and says, John, the councillor shut in Bramley Baths. Since you've got nothing to do, can you come back and chair the Save the Baths Committee? I came back, and we've turned it into a social enterprise, and it's been a dream.
A huge success.
It's been tremendous in the middle of Bramley, including Bramley people. And it's back to the point I'm making earlier. If you ask me what's the key to it, it's not the iconic Grade 2 listed building. It really is the marketing, the imagination to engage the people locally to come in. So the Baths is full now from morning till night with lots of activities.
And it's run by the community, that's the thing.
Yeah, we employ professional people. There's a team run it, and the community gather around that team. But we employ proper lifesavers, a manager, somebody at the front of the house. We employ 36 people.
Yep. There we go. It's a real success. I'm sure you will mention Bramley Baths through the rest of the show.
Can't not mention
it. We're going to move on from
I'll live for Bramley Baths.
Baths to antibiotics. Because, of course, every day we're hearing about groundbreaking discoveries and research from all over the world. But this week, one has come a little closer to home. Researchers from the University of Leeds have been testing a process that could mean a drastic reduction in the amount of unneeded antibiotic prescriptions. The research could be a big step forward in fighting the so-called antibiotic apocalypse, whereby superbugs are becoming immune to the medicine.
If you think about a patient going to a GP surgery, then what we will need to do is or the GP rather, would need to take a small amount of blood from the patient, would have to run the patient blood on one of our sensors that we develop, and then within 15 minutes the sensor will be able to tell you whether the infection was of bacterial or viral origin.
So Minoti, you were telling us just before we came live that you're someone who's really been kind of almost exposed to too many antibiotics.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's actually very surprising. When I relocated here, it was like a new story, a new revelation of sorts, that we don't need antibiotics when we fall sick, because back in India, I think it's the normal thing to do. There are no restrictions where doctors do not prescribe. In
you can
fact,
literally
they're very
just go
happy.
and buy them, can't you? Yeah.
Absolutely. And anything that would happen to me, there were at least 4 to 5 antibiotics that were prescribed to me for a 4 to 5 or a week's course. And I realized over time that it actually made me fall sick every 30 to 40 days. And there was a time in my life, a couple of years actually, when I felt like I just needed those antibiotics to come back and lead a normal life. I did not realize that the reason why I kept falling sick every 40-45 days is because of
the antibiotics.
Exactly. So it's when I relocated here, and obviously, you know, when you fall ill because of change of weather, etc., you go to the GP, and it was a shock when the GP said, yeah, okay, you just need paracetamols and you'll be fine. Lots of fluids, sleep, and you'll be fine. So it took me some time to kind of get my system to be accustomed to that kind of treatment, and it works absolutely fine. I've not had an antibiotic for the last 3.5 years.
Well done, because you don't want to have too many. But there is a problem, isn't there, John, that doctors are being put under quite a lot of pressure from people to prescribe antibiotics when actually they might not work at all.
Yeah, interestingly, my daughter's culture in Italy, they're pretty keen on antibiotics. I personally tend to be you might say I'm a classic man that won't go to the doctors. As long as I don't go to the doctors, I can't be ill, can I? You know? But this over-prescribing is part of the problem. And very complex viruses and bacteria that, you know, they mutate and change their approach and get round the virus.
Tell you what, I've had this awful cold and it's been going on for months now, and I can't get rid of it.
But let's not lose the focus of the story. Anyway, great news about Leeds University.
Leeds University, they might, because otherwise, potentially...
And it does say...
It is apocalypse, potentially, this antibiotic.
And unless we invest in really good people, good scientists working on solutions to these problems, we can be wiping ourselves out. So I'm massively in favour of funding science and other departments in universities and encouraging them. Encourage youngsters to study the sciences, encourage them to do PhDs in it and work and research. And there'll be experiments where they're not getting anywhere and then they make a breakthrough, but thank God for Leeds University.
Yeah, it's really great that the scientists there have been doing this. We're going to stay on the kind of emergency services sort of area now, because startling figures which have been released from West Yorkshire Fire and Rescue have revealed that their firefighters are facing an increase in violence against them whilst protecting the public. Do you know, in a way, I kind of find it really shocking that I'm reading this out. This shocking footage that we're going to show was filmed as the service was attacked. All in all, there were 95 attacks on crews last year, which is an increase of 50%. Now, Bonfire Night is, of course, the busiest night of the year for the fire service. So on Wednesday, a new campaign, More Than a Uniform, was launched aimed at stopping the violence.
It put my mind on other things. So when we go to other incidents, if we saw big groups of individuals, you was half a mind on them and half a mind on what you was doing, which made doing my job more difficult than it actually should have been, and it's a difficult job at the best of times.
I genuinely cannot believe this bit of film that will... What on earth makes somebody attack firefighters or ambulance crews or...
Exactly. It's you can't even pinpoint on a reason, because it's just so illogical and unacceptable. You just cannot do it. I mean, you think about, is common sense really that common then? Because, you know, it's basic sense that these are the people who are actually risking their lives to save your life.
I wonder, it is shocking, and it's not just kind of a bit of a joke and a bit of fun and chucking a plastic bottle. This is serious,
breaking the glass.
And it's serious violence, and I just think it has to stop. And in a way, and it's criminal, but I mean, I sometimes think perhaps we have to apply shock tactics to those doing the violence and start spelling out to people that if that fire crew can't do that job, it'll be their grandma birds to death because they
know.
can't get to the next
But
place.
surely that's not rocket science. Surely it doesn't,
Yeah,
you
but
know,
I don't
to
think,
understand
but I don't think
that.
people are joining things up anymore, are they? They're just taking a snapshot of this is the action, I'm in for it, but can you think it through, please, more than the next minute?
Yeah.
And to understand that we need these services.
Because it's just bonkers, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's the essential service. It's like, you know, we've got the police force. Just that way, we've got this service.
Essential service.
Essential, and you have to
tell me what you think. Try and explain it to me if you can. Explain it to me on social media. We're at Made in Leeds on Twitter. We're going up to a break, I'm afraid, John.
Okay.
We're at Made in Leeds on Twitter. We're Made in Leeds TV on Facebook. What do you have? We've got a different view. Let us know. We'll see you in a sec.